And we keep seeing U.S. citizens turn up in stories that are ostensibly about immigration enforcement or something having to do with immigration. I mean, Trump's immigration agents have told at least 9 U.S. citizen lawyers, doctors, teachers that they had 1 week to get out of the country or else. U.S. citizens, where are they supposed to go? First, it was 2 U.S. citizen lawyers in Massachusetts that we learned about. Then next, we learned about a U.S. citizen doctor from Cromwell, Connecticut. A few days after that, we learned about a U.S. citizen lawyer in Utah. He got this letter saying, it's time for you to leave the United States. The federal government will find you. He's a U.S. citizen. The next day, we learned of a U.S. citizen lawyer in San Diego. Same threat. Then we learned about another U.S. citizen lawyer in Austin, Texas. The day after that, we got new reporting on a U.S. citizen lawyer in Houston, Texas. This guy is born in Connecticut. He's a lawyer working in Houston. The Trump administration comes to him and threatens him to get out of the country immediately or else. Where is he supposed to go? The day after that, we learned of another U.S. citizen lawyer in Los Angeles, told by the Trump administration to get out of the country immediately, with all the attendant threats. I mean, it just keeps happening. Here's another one reporting from Wisconsin Public Radio. Headline: The federal government will find you. Immigration officials wrongfully told a Fox Valley man to leave the United States. Department of Homeland Security told a retired college administrator to depart the United States immediately. The letter to this random retired college administrator and teacher, an American citizen born in Western Pennsylvania, tells him, quote, if you do not depart the United States immediately, you will be subject to potential law enforcement actions that will result in your removal from the United States. Do not attempt to remain in the United States. The federal government will find you. Please depart the United States immediately. Well, at least they said please in that one. Now, in some cases, reporters who have been following up on these bizarre cases where U.S. citizens are being told to get out of the country. In some cases, reporters following up on these cases have been told by the Trump administration that these threats were sent by mistake, but not in every instance and not to everybody who has received these threats. I mean, we've had Trump's immigration agents try to arrest Puerto Ricans in Newark and in Philadelphia, people from Puerto Rico who, by definition, are U.S. citizens by birth. But apparently the Trump administration has not been able to figure that out, so they've been arresting people anyway. In Arizona this month, Trump's immigration agents arrested a U.S. citizen in Arizona, held him for 10 days in an immigration prison, even though he is a U.S. citizen. Leon County, Florida, a week and a half ago, they locked up another guy, U.S. citizen, initially would not let him go, even when his birth certificate showing his birth in the United States was handed over to the court. And now they have started sending U.S. citizen children out of the country, including one case Friday night in which the deeply conservative Trump-appointed judge in Louisiana who got the case said that he had a, quote, strong suspicion that the government just deported a U.S. citizen with no meaningful process. That judge, I got to tell you, in an extraordinary action, also himself personally tried to get the mother of that U.S. citizen child on the phone after Trump's immigration agents had flown her out of the country. The judge tried to get her on the phone himself so he personally could ask the mother whether or not what the Trump administration was saying about her and her child was true, since they offered him no proof at all, and he doesn't have to believe them when they offer no proof. They offered him no proof at all of what they were saying about this mother before flying that U.S. citizen out of the country without a single moment's appearance in court. And so the judge turned himself into a detective trying to find the mother himself to get her on the phone to do some fact-finding, to figure out what had happened here since nobody was before him in court, just the government saying stuff without proof. The administration says that this mother chose to take her children with her. But in both cases where we've had families like this, where we've had U.S. citizens sent to other countries, despite the fact that they are citizens, we've got lawyers for the mothers in both of those instances saying that the mothers were not given that option. You sometimes hear this statement that, everything they're now trying to do to immigrants, they'll eventually try to do to U.S. citizens. It's not that. It's not just that everything they're now trying to do to immigrants, they will eventually try to do to US citizens. It's that what they are trying to do to immigrants already, they are already doing to US citizens. These guys do not color inside the lines, right? And they are counting on us being inured to the cruelty and chaos and just flagrantly reckless incompetence of all of it. Because they're saying this treatment is for immigrants. And the agencies doing it are just the agencies who handle immigration-related issues. But it's not true. It's citizens too. But honestly, even if it wasn't citizens, this is the behavior of our government with our taxpayer dollars operating under the constraints of our Constitution, which constrains how the government is supposed to treat all people in this country. But 100 days in, if anything is clear, it's that, yes, some of what they are doing is intentional, including the cruelty, but a lot of it is just them screwing up, just them being completely slipshod and shambolic and incompetent in ways that ruin people's lives, and in ways that are just dumb. I mean, today, for the dumb column, we got news that Trump's hand-picked defense secretary, who he picked off Fox and Friends weekend, Pete Hegseth, Trump insisted on putting this man above everybody in charge of the Pentagon, despite everything we know about Pete Hegseth. Today we got news that Pete Hegseth was sort of pounding his chest and typing in all caps and shouting about he, all caps, ended the Women, Peace, and Security program inside the Pentagon. I bet he hated that name. He called it a, quote, woke, divisive social justice Biden initiative pushed by feminists and left-wing activists. He said, good riddance. He's ending it today. Except the program he's talking about was actually created by Donald Trump. Something Trump bragged about for years as one of his big national security accomplishments in his first term. The legislation to create this program was sponsored by a congresswoman named Kristi Noem. She's now Trump's Homeland Security Secretary. In the Senate, it was sponsored by a man named Marco Rubio, who's now Trump's Secretary of State. What did Pete Hegseth call it? He called it a woke, divisive social justice Biden initiative pushed by feminists and left-wing activists. By which he means something created by and bragged about by Donald Trump and his cabinet. Because with the vast resources of the U.S. Defense Department at his disposal, Donald Trump nevertheless found someone to put in charge of the Pentagon who apparently can't Google. Hasn't learned that yet. Donald Trump told The Atlantic magazine in the interview they did with him this week, quote, I run the country and the world. My dude, you and your administration cannot run a group chat. You cannot figure out how to fire the guy who can't run the group chat because you're afraid that that would mean you're going to have to start firing everybody who keeps screwing up so badly. I mean, today, just like take a random glimpse at the news any day. Just today, the Trump administration, announced that they would reverse themselves and try to bring back the firefighters' cancer registry that Trump, for some reason, killed a couple of weeks ago, even though he's the one who created it and bragged about it in his first term. Today, the Trump administration, announced that they would reverse themselves and try to bring back the people who scream coal miners for black lung disease after Trump inexplicably fired almost everyone at the coal workers' health surveillance program. Now, they're trying to get them all back. If we have learned everything, it is not incompetent or evil. It's not a multiple choice thing. It's more like check all that apply. At 100 days, Donald Trump has the lowest approval rating of any president in the history of modern polling. The U.S. trade deficit is the worst it has ever been in U.S. history. U.S. stocks in his 100 days have underperformed the rest of the world by the widest margin in more than 3 decades. He thinks he rules the world. What he runs is a shambolic, cratered federal government that has agents randomly terrorizing Oklahoma City moms and their daughters and forcing them out into the rain in their underwear in the middle of the night, and then leaving with all their money.